Some of you may know that a documentary was made about me, and I go documentary because I wasn't interviewed, they didn't ask to interview me, and they hired an actor to portray me instead of asking me. Anyway, I'm on here because I want to know how you would handle it. Part of me wants to sue, the other part of me wants to use it to my benefit and profit off of it. The other part of me literally doesn't care because there's no fact. Like, she doesn't know anything. I never met the person who filmed it. She was never a former client. She knows nothing about me. And the people that she interviewed, I know who they are by name, even though they're hidden by AI voices. And they all have severe mental illness. Also, none of them ever worked with me one-on-one. They were always in like a group setting. They don't know me. They know nothing about me. So she's claiming that I'm a cult leader, which, how would you deal with it? I genuinely want to know.
Hello friends, just a quick update before we jump into the second half of the chaos and calamity that is Angela Sumner. So first and foremost, thank you to everyone who I interviewed and who gave me background information or just helped in general regarding this bigger project. I do also want to say that there were a lot of people that I did reach out to that maybe didn't receive those requests, or maybe, due to social media, they were hidden in like request folders, things like that. I know my Instagram can get like that too. I did receive an email from Cherie Wilder, the one who unfortunately passed away at the Phoenix Experience retreat, from her husband's wife. And per their request, I have actually blurred out certain parts of the last video just to make sure that, it's not affecting them negatively or anything. I did reach out to them, did make multiple attempts to reach out to them prior to releasing my video. So I just do want to make that clear. I know sometimes with social media and with emails and trying to find people's information, we can be directed in the wrong way. And then there's wig, I'm drinking water. You're okay, you can keep drinking. And then even with Instagram DMs, your Instagram messages can be filtered and then also put into your requested folder, even if you're not a YouTuber, even if you're not a public figure, even if you don't have a big following. I know a lot of people that Instagram will like glitch and not show them all of them. I know it happens all the time for me. So the attempts were made. I just want to make that clear, and to respect them, I am going to blur out specific pieces of the video that Anthony Wilder, the ex-husband, of Cherie Wilder, that him and his wife did request. I also did receive a lot more information regarding that day and that specific event. And while yes, I do not think that Angela necessarily had a hand in what took place, meaning Cherie passing away, but then I also do think that the way she handled it after that was disgusting, and that is just my opinion. So I want to make that clear as well. And I have received a lot more information regarding that incident and the investigation and all of the paperwork, body cam footage, all that. And since I don't necessarily think that Angela was at fault for Cherie's death, I don't think that it is helpful or pertinent to include that information or the body cam footage or anything like that I have received. So I just want to put that out there too. And I wish everyone who was involved in this nothing but the best, except for Angela Sumner. Now we do go over a good bit of, Angela's shift from Monat to master resale rights to then olive tree people, and then still doing master resale rights, and then leaving the internet. And all of this footage that you're about to see was filmed, last month? And the thing is that Angela did come back to social media. And since then, Monat, the multi-level marketing company that she was in for years, has continued to crumble. And one thing that I find super interesting is that Angela's already left olive tree people. And since coming back to the interwebs, she has continued to completely blast the multi-level marketing company Monat, and I love that, and share some pretty eye-opening information about it. However, she's also come back to the internet to share some pretty harmful and disgusting rhetoric regarding Pride Month and who other people decide to have consenting engagements with behind closed doors. which is quite interesting. So not only has she now apparently disowned the entire notion of multi-level marketing, now she is even going harder into homophobic, hateful, transphobic, all that rhetoric, but then going as far as to calling Miss Rachel, the suspenders wearing kids show on YouTube, going as far as calling her a groomer, which is defamation. I don't know what this girl's doing, but that's pretty wild. I mean, that's like calling Steve from Blue's Clues a groomer. Like, what are you talking about? So, anyways, just thought that was very interesting. Thought that I should update you a little bit. She's back to her craziness, back to the ridiculous antics. I did think it was interesting that she did a live stream talking about how women shouldn't wear makeup and just, more harmful, misogynistic, just hateful mantras that she's spewing every single day. And then also more so than that, she was posting a video of her using Saint makeup, which is just so interesting that she is using multi-level marketing products and like supporting other people in it, but then has said negative things about network marketing, but then also says that she isn't like anti-MLM people, anti-multi-level marketing people, because we spend all of our time hating other people. Bold statement coming from a homophobe, right? All right, well, let's go ahead and get into the rest of this video. I hope you enjoy it. And if you have any suggestions for anyone else that you would like me to do a deep dive on, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. I will definitely take those suggestions into consideration. If you have like a pitch that you want me to do a video on someone so bad, go ahead and send those suggestions over to Chelsea at ChelseaSuarez.com, and you can go ahead and put in the subject line deep dive request, and like put the person's first and last name or what they go by, and then go ahead and pitch it to me. Give me your elevator pitch. Give me like a timeline, links. Basically convince me to do the video on it. Pretend we're at a party and I basically tell you, take me down a rabbit hole with you. That's what I need you to do so I can actually be like, oh, damn, I need to do a video on this. Anyways, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for supporting me through this video because it was obnoxious. One of the next ones we do will be Collins Kids, Carissa Collins. There we go. Also, the next 6 minutes of this video-ish that were obviously pre-filmed, you'll see a little disclaimer at the bottom. The audio, I don't know why it's messed up. My son like unplugged my mic or something when I was filming. So there you go. Okay, thanks. That's all. So as we know, Angela's network marketing grift was not sustainable, clearly, as the numbers show. So of course, when another grift came along, she hopped right on that and continued to market it to and to target stay-at-home mothers or single moms or just moms in general. Nothing like mom shaming for your own financial gain, am I right? Seeing Angela try to explain what master resale rights is to her audience and make absolutely no sense is hilarious. Then again, when anyone tries to explain what master resale rights is, it typically never makes sense because the concept itself does not make sense. Now, I have quite a few videos about this on my channel, and I will have those links down below. But to just go over it super simply, master resale rights is a concept where you are buying the right to resell something. In this case, and typically it's a course or a digital product. Now, you've probably seen so many people on the internet, on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram, usually it's like Instagram Reels, talking about how they create passive income. They sell a digital product. They didn't have something to sell and now they do, and they sell it over and over and over again, and they make $75,000 a minute without showing their face or lifting a finger, and it's passive income. Let's get two things straight and one thing gay. It's not passive income if you are constantly posting about it. We know that. You get it. I get it. That takes time. Content creation is work. So no, that's called marketing. It's not passive income. And just like with network marketing, why would you want to recruit someone to do the exact same thing that you do? Why would you want more people to do the exact same thing that you do for money? That is saturation. You are saturating your own market. That's dumb. And then also, one of my main things that it does not make sense at all with this. What you're seeing is people promoting the making money aspect, and that's it. They're not promoting the actual educational information that is apparently in these courses that are anywhere from $200 to $300 to $400. They're promoting the money that they're making, which is such a wild marketing concept. They're not actually building any value and making the course itself seem valuable, but that's because it's not. Over the past, I want to say 6-ish months, I have purchased so many master resale rights courses and digital products. And let me tell you, my accountant's not happy with me. But more so than that, none of them have information in there that you can't find for free on the internet. And yes, there's obviously a difference between paying an expert and to learn from them and for their like industry experience and all that, for instance. And I always mention her, and she's probably annoyed with me mentioning her by now. But one of my favorite people on the internet is a muralist, and she has really she's amazing, and she is so great on social media. And specifically for muralists, she has a course where she can teach you, you know, what she's learned and her vendors and like stuff like that. And yes, her time, your time as an expert in your industry, of a master of your craft, whatever, that's valuable. Absolutely. However, are these people that are selling this digital product online, are they an expert? And not even an expert, but are they an influencer? Are they someone who sells digital products? Are they someone who does digital marketing? No, this was probably their first time doing it. It's absolutely wild. Think about it for more than 5 seconds, ask questions, dig deeper. Typically, it doesn't stand up to criticism. And if it doesn't stand up to criticism, it's dog doo-doo, okay? I could sit on my soapbox for so long about this. And actually, I did a few months ago. I purchased and reviewed a digital marketing guide from a very disliked person on the internet, Jordan Cheyenne, in the YouTube sphere. She's not respected. Most people can't stand her. She exploits her child. Not only that, but like got caught egregiously doing that, was kicked off the internet for a bit. And then what do you know? She came back looking like a completely different person, which is a bit spooky. And then came back with this grift and is like doing it over and over and over again. And was not a fan of the videos I made about it, but oh well. So I bought her digital guide and then also bought her digital course. Her digital course is also not good, but her digital guide that she was promoting for like $50, I think. I did a video on that, correcting it all. It's all marked up in red ink. It is so offensive. And from there, I took what I have seen from other digital marketing platforms and courses and blah, blah, and like what they're teaching you and all this, and like the syllabuses from all of them, the outlines, my own expertise, what I know from being in this industry, the digital landscape for as long as I have and doing it full time, and arguably so being successful at it. And I made my own digital guide. So if you are trying to avoid being sucked into the master resale rights BS and you actually want to learn what's in there and the information, go ahead and go to CCSUAREZ.com and you can purchase my digital guide for yourself. It's $777.77. However, it's free right now. It's going to be free forever. I'm not done with it, but I did put it up and there will be updates. And if you purchase it for free, that's awesome. I appreciate you. And I can 98 3/4% guarantee, not to quote Dr. Seuss, that it's going to be more useful than these digital marketing $500 guides that I'm sure those people probably didn't even take that course. It's wild. It's buying a course to teach you how to sell the course that you just bought. What? It makes no sense. It's so wild. And yes, digital marketing is a real industry. Digital marketing is real. I've done it before. Digital downloads, things like that. It's real, but this ain't it.
When Angela started doing master resale rights, a lot of people started calling her out and saying that she wouldn't be doing this if the money was working out so well for her in her Monat/network marketing business. She continued to post multiple times contradicting herself about how she's making more money with this now than she ever was previously. However, prior to doing master resale rights, she was saying that she was making so much money with Monat in order to promote the Monat opportunity to try to recruit more people in order to make more money. It truly is a vicious cycle. Angela is someone who doubles down when she's met with any type of backlash. And this is why I think that she went further and further and further into the grift of making money and her other side hustles, her entire personality, which quickly turned into her denouncing the woo-woo and transitioning from a witch to being a born-again Christian. Angela has claimed multiple times now that Monat saved her and that shampoo turned her to God. She has even, for the billionth time, changed her story to say that God was speaking to her directly, and she was so broken and so poor and so homeless that God presented Monat to her. Even though before getting into Monat, she was saying that she was doing so well with her coaching business. It goes without saying that not all Christians are hateful lunatics. Not all Trump supporters are ignorant bigots, and not all Republicans are conspiracy theorists who think that public school gonna make your kid gay. Political ideology is a sliding scale, just like the influence continuum in regards to organizations and groups being cults. Unfortunately for us, Angela knows really only how to do everything to the extreme. So everything I just said does not apply to her. Within a year of becoming a Christian, Angela seemingly was posting very easily disprovable conspiracy theories as facts.
And I'm just going to praise Jesus all day long. Women who care about freedom, medical freedom, the freedom of speech. Women who care about raising your children without having to inject them with drugs. Women who care about what goes in and on their children's bodies. Women who care about repairing their relationship with their femininity, their partner, and God.
So as we've established about 14 billion times in this video already, Angela's narratives, perception of reality, and timelines change faster than the weather in Florida. And her birth and becoming a mom and the aftermath after that is no exception to that. Now, don't get me wrong. As a first-time mom myself, as a mother of an infant myself, I definitely changed my mind multiple times, and that happens a lot. When you are, before you get pregnant, then you're pregnant, and then after having a kid too. I mean, nothing can really prepare you for that. Yes, you can be prepared mentally, whatever, but like stuff changes. It's chaos. It's wild, okay? So I don't think there's anything wrong with changing your mind. For instance, for me specifically, I kept saying like, y'all are never even gonna know that I'm pregnant. Y'all knew I was pregnant. Then I said like, I'm never gonna show my kid on camera. Listen, for me to actually be able to work, yes, sometimes I'm gonna have to hold him to finish a video or something. However, there's a difference between like sharing or just showing and then absolutely using your child specifically to market to other people who have children and exploiting your child for your own financial gain. And that's what Angela does. As you can clearly tell by every single one of her reels that she made after having a baby, targeting stay-at-home moms, it is wild. So the narrative regarding her getting pregnant, blah, 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 whatever, being pregnant, her version of the story is apparently, allegedly, that she went on a few dates with this guy. They were not, she didn't say twin flames or soulmates or whatever, but she did like build it up a lot. And he was the rip to her Beth Dutton. Perfect farmer who didn't mind if she was free bleeding in bed with him, who encouraged her to eat the placenta. That's medical waste. Stop. There's no scientific proof that stop. Then again, I also think that oysters are gross, so don't take what I say seriously. But thanks to Angela's inability to keep anything ever private, we really do have like a full rundown of what happened. So apparently she was acting a fool at his ranch. So she got pregnant, they broke up, whatever, she left the ranch, and then she went back, farm is with plants, ranches with animals, so ranch. So then she went back and they tried to work on it, and then not even joking, within like a day, pretty sure it was like a day, it was less than a week of her being at the ranch, they got into an argument and she left, and she was like crying about it on social media. And she's like, just don't ask me. And it's like, if you don't want people to ask you, why are you on there? What are you doing? What's going on? You're sad fishing. You want attention. You're annoying.
I'm leaving the farm for the foreseeable future, which I don't want any questions about. I will not get into today. But, oh my God, what was I going to tell you? I don't even remember. Oh, to those of you who have thought about me and Naka, I just appreciate it more than you know.
Now, there's about 17 folders that I have full of Angela's contradictions, so we're going to go over a bit of them now, and then we'll touch back on them a little bit later. But Angela's misinformation and medical misinformation regarding literally life in general, but space, the earth, water, birth, masks, breath, blood, childbirth, COVID, cancer, birth control, literally anything. It's just a lot. So let's go over that. Most of these are so absurd that they don't even need corrections. But here we go. Any amount of ultrasound imaging or clinical prenatal care will harm your unborn child. OB appointments are considered rape. She can give her daughter stitches. She knows better than any doctor. She can treat COVID better than medical professionals. Her home birth was safe, even though she ended up in the hospital and almost died. Hospital births are more dangerous than home births. She got pregnant when she was not ovulating. Drinking syrup would help her get pregnant. Birth control is dangerous for women to take. It's safe to give your baby raw liver to eat. You should not give your child a birth certificate. A high amount of abortions are done to full term. She needed to eat the placenta. Literally any information about cortisol. Smearing your period blood on your face is beneficial. Putting your period blood in plants will stop wars. It's safe to take baths in your period blood. Wi-Fi causes mutations and miscarriages. Jessie Lee Ward, another multi-level marketing girl boss who passed away from stage 4 colon cancer, almost exactly 6 months to the date of her being diagnosed, died from drinking the MLM ketone drinks that the company she worked for sold. Anxiety and depression are caused by food, not by chemical imbalances in your brain. She only needs to eat 1 meal a day and doesn't need much food to survive. Starving yourself to lose weight or to, quote, stay skinny is not anorexia or any type of disordered eating. Wearing the same undies and free bleeding does not cause UTIs. Tongue tie is not real. Babies do not need surgery. The University of Pittsburgh is harvesting organs from living babies during abortion procedures. The Pitt Biospecimen Corps, which provides central support for the University of Pittsburgh research programs, receives all fetal tissue from UPMC McGee Women's Hospital, which is the teaching hospital affiliated with the university. In a clinical setting, conversations about donating fetal tissue for scientific research can only occur after a patient has decided to terminate the pregnancy. The University of Pittsburgh isn't just out here chopping up full-term babies. COVID was a war on babies. Fat shaming does not exist. Poor people are lazy. You breathe in your own fat and poop when wearing a mask. Masks make you more sick. Babies are not expensive. If you have a baby, you will make more money. You are not a witch if you get vaccines. The pandemic was planned. The earth is flat. Space does not exist. Toxic masculinity does not exist. Women should not be breadwinners. We should stay home and make babies. And that's why she sells shampoo. God talks specifically to her. She can talk to aliens. You can make $1 million a month if you join Monat. Her book is a bestseller. I thought this was hilarious because how? The number of books needed on Amazon to achieve bestseller status can vary significantly depending on the category of the overall sales volume at any given time. In some niche categories, selling as few as 100 to 500 books in a short period can propel a book to the top of its category. If you give her money and support her, you will be successful. Breast is best. Formula is not good for babies. Formula was created to separate mothers from their babies. Let's get into that for a second. According to contemporarypediatrics.com, during the 18th century in Europe, the demand for wet nurses was so great that bureaus were established where wet nurses could register and reside until their services were needed. Governments regulated the bureau strictly. Laws mandated that wet nurses undergo routine health examinations and prohibited them from nursing more than one infant at a time. Eventually, wet nursing fell out of favor, and attention turned to finding an adequate substitute for breast milk. In the late 19th century, formula with a percentage of cow's milk and other additives was used, but then it was realized that there were diseases being caused by bacteria and germs, especially with the raw milk being spoiled. Eventually, it was figured out that by using dehydrated formula, it was safer. In the 1920s, Alfred Bosworth, a milk chemist working for the biochemistry department of Harvard Medical School, and Henry Bowditch, a Boston pediatrician who was employed by the Boston Floating Hospital, experimented with infant formula derived from cow's milk by adding varying amounts of vegetable oils, calcium, phosphorus salts, and preparing blends with different lactose concentrations. They tested more than 200 formulas in clinical trials before they considered their infant formula complete. This formula was renamed Similac in 1926. Back to the BS. Angela made much more than she did in Monat when she realistically made less than $200K profit in the 2 to 3 years since she joined. She said that people should get a job even if they hate their job, yet always says that you should quit your 9 to 5 because you're unhappy and start your own business / join an MLM. She says that you're making someone else money in a traditional job, but you're not making someone else money in network marketing. She said that she didn't work after giving birth because with master resale rights, she made so much money. Then she said that she worked every day postpartum on her network marketing business. She says that she makes 4 figures per day with master resale rights and then posts poorly edited screenshots to prove her incoming payments. She made so much money coaching and was homeless and poor before that. She made so much money in Monat and was homeless and poor before that, despite previous income claims from coaching. She made so much money from master resale rights and was homeless and poor before that, despite the previous income claims that she would use to promote the Monat opportunity and her coaching before that. Now, in April of 2024, Angela posted this series of Instagram stories. Oh boy, buckle up. This morning, God told me to read Job 31. I've never read Job before, so I was a little confused. I have walked with falsehood, and my foot has fastened to deceit. Let me be weighed in a just balance, and let God know my integrity. If my step has turned aside from the way, and my heart has gone after my eyes, and any spot has stuck to my hands, then let me sow and another eat, and let what grows for me be rooted out. This morning, God told me to draft a goodbye email to the company I spent the last 2 years of my life making hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of dollars for. Likely well over $1 million, but I haven't checked to be certain. I felt in my body that the company has lost sight of God and all integrity. I heard firsthand accounts of what my friends had seen and experienced. Demonic, several women told me separately. I told my team I was leaving. I put off sending the email. We had a play date with a friend and her daughter. When my friend and her daughter left, I checked my email and I had been terminated. I immediately started bawling, not because I was surprised, not at all, but because I am a single mother and this is terrifying to think that my pay is gone just like that. No conversation, no acknowledgement, just termination. I had a lot of questions about the ingredients, new allergic reactions being reported, synthetic fragrances when we'd been all told that they were all plant-based. And I was hushed in the leaders chat. One of the multi-milli earner and leaders said, blah, blah, who cares? To which I replied, most of my audience and market partners are super low tox. I have built a brand for over a decade on no toxic chemicals. So synthetic fragrances are a huge deal to me. I would not put that on my body or promote it because they're hormone disruptors and carcinogens. So it's a genuine concern. I'm not going to poo-poo someone's concern that is valid just because I don't like how someone is sharing their concern. Leaders don't silence other leaders, and all my girls are leaders. She then deleted her comments. I left the chat and I knew I was done. So then she goes on to post her upline, Amanda Knox, in this company, posted that Angela, had made over $16,000 in 3 days and ranked up to Black Olive, which is apparently the 6th rank within Olive Tree People, which is the new multi-level marketing company that she had joined. And she says God takes care of his daughters. So in reality, Angela had already joined another multi-level marketing company. She was also already doing master resale rights. It's wild to me that she is posting or was posting on there and saying, oh, I was crying because now my income's gone. But your income's not gone because this entire time you were also doing master resale rights, which you also said that you were making quadruple, 5 times, 10 times the amount that you were with Monat. And you have been doing that allegedly. And then you've now also already joined another multi-level marketing company and ranked up to past a certain point with that one and made so much money in 3 days. So are you really sad that your income is gone when you've basically been downplaying this income from Monat in order to promote master resale rights the entire 4, 5, 6 months prior? That doesn't make sense, Angela. So Angela was fired because she was above a certain rank within Monat. And if you're above a certain rank, I believe it's managing market builder, then you cannot be in another multi-level marketing company. So she was breaking her non-compete that she had agreed to with Monat. So they fired her. You broke a contract, they fired you. I mean, you can't really play the victim there. So as I said, she joined another multi-level marketing company, which is Olive Tree People. Buckle up. I'm talking making out and licking trees, okay? It ain't just skincare, people. It gets wild. So buckle up. I hope you like olives. I don't. Olive Tree People, also known as Oliveda, is a multi-level marketing company that sells overpriced skincare products. Per their website, Olive Tree People replaces the 70% water content, which is normally used in skincare products, with the globally unique holistic beauty molecule and elixir, which can only be found in our mountain olive trees.
Aber unterm Strich die Intensität im Produkt, das heißt die Lebenskraft im Produkt, um ein Vielfaches höher ist. Und das können wir, und nicht nur wir, sondern jeden Tag unsere Kunden in über 650 Filialen mittlerweile spüren und fühlen. Und das hat uns dann wiederum dazu bewogen, Oliveda 2013 in diese wunderbare Naturregion, in diese Kulturregion auch zu investieren.
On their website, they have a page called Talking Trees, where you can, quote, hear and feel the healing and balancing sounds of olive trees. It sounds like this man 100%, in my opinion, did acid in an olive tree grove and then just could not let it go. I feel like there's got to be footage out there of him sticking something in one of them trees. Since 1997, Oliveda's founder, Thomas Lomel, has been dreaming of sharing his life-changing experience in the mountain olive trees with other people. His dream became a mission. In 2015, in collaboration with artists, university professors, bioscientists, physicists, and IT specialists, he started an extraordinary project, Olive Tree People. He wanted to give the mountain olive trees a voice, making them audible and tangible, connecting us humans with them in real time, 24/7. In every Oliveda Olive Tree People store, the trees check in every hour, on the hour, via our big olive, connected to nature. This is how the trees become the beauty life coach and naturopath for us humans. We humans can only live outside the laws of nature for so long until this disconnectedness manifests itself in symptoms. With the increase of lifestyle or civilization diseases, it has become more and more evident that holistic methods, holistic in and outside beauty, deserve more attention. Utilizing holistic methods in order to minimize the cause of this imbalance, thereby alleviating or even curing civilization diseases. Olive Tree People also has an option where you can lease a 100-year-old mountain olive tree. They have 3 offers for green olive ranked Olive Tree People. You can lease a tree for 2 years for just under $1,000. For violet olive ranked people, you can have it for 5 years for just under $2,500. And then for black olive, you can lease it for 10 years for just under $5,000. The calamity does not stop there. They also offer what is called Big Olive, an atmosphere in a 1,000-year-old olive tree. The Big Olive is connected directly and exclusively to your personal mountain olive tree via your Wi-Fi or office home network. The energy and original information from your mountain olive tree is transported to your home or office via the bifilar coil integrated in Big Olive. Every Big Olive is a globally unique overall work of art of nature because Big Olive is exclusively connected to its own mountain olive tree. So on top of the cost of leasing your own tree, for an extra $14,950 plus $50 a month for their mobile app subscription, you can be plugged into your tree. But don't worry. If you never want to disconnect from your tree, you can also have the option of their coming soon product called Olive Me that connects you 24/7, 7 days a week to the primeval force of nature, of the 7,000-year-old science of mountain olive trees. It's like a 24/7 homeopath administered in the right doses by your personal naturopath. And that's for an additional $229 and then an additional $10 on top of that for the app subscription. They also have a section showing future products where they show products that look like private labeled Amazon Home Alexa or Apple products claiming to energize and improve your sleep, your air, beauty, ears, and more air, but on the go air, and your water. My personal favorite option they have is called Big Dope. According to the Olive Tree People website, Angela is not even in the company anymore. So this is probably her shortest grift. That aspect of this is crazy to me, that she just made apparently $16,000 and was like, I'm out, bye. Angela has rebranded herself over and over and over again over the years. I truly found it fascinating to try to pinpoint the different people that she was taking inspiration from, so to speak, or single white femaling. Now, when you're with someone a lot, when you're watching their content a lot, there's definitely a big chance that you are going to pick up on their speech patterns or things they say. That's completely normal. Do I have little like one-liners from Trixie Mattel running through my head constantly? Yes, I do. If I watch 3 episodes of the Do We Know Them podcast, am I going to start doing the same type of voices that Jessie does? Yes, and I do. It's completely normal to mirror people, to pick up on things that people you like do, or people around you, especially if you're spending a lot of time with them, your family, your friends, whatever. However, when you're someone who, in my opinion, is as narcissistic or has narcissistic tendencies like Angela does, and then adopting those behaviors, phrases, belief systems as your own, it does come back to the question of, does she even know who she is? And does she really have a sense of self? Because it doesn't seem like she does. It seems like she is a chameleon of sorts and will just try to adapt to whoever she's trying to copy and whoever she's trying to sell to. One thing that I find crazy is that a lot of these people that Angela has, in my opinion, mirrored throughout the years, she doesn't have a relationship with. A lot of them she's never even met. And being a content creator, you can have a friendship with someone and have never met them. I mean, some of my closest work friends, some of my closest colleagues I've never actually met in person. However, we talk, we have each other's numbers, we'll FaceTime or do a little wine night on Zoom or something like that, right? You do have that level of friendship, of relationship. But most of these people, Angela did not have that with, even if she had met them, which most of them she's never met. Let's start with Melanie Ann Layer, or Alpha Femme. Melanie is all about manifesting, calibration keys, coaching to coach coaches who coach people and also coach coaches. She's an absolute, in my opinion, gremlin of a scamming coach who's preying on vulnerable and gullible people. And Angela has admitted to paying for this woman's services, and also, in my opinion, really adopted her vernacular as well. And then we have Aspen King. Aspen was Angela's direct upline in Monat, and allegedly, Angela traveled to meet Aspen and attend some party or event that she was hosting, and Angela apparently got drunk and was all over Aspen's husband, and then Aspen shunned Angela or kicked her out of her downline. Angela had since said that she didn't have a direct upline. However, she did mention a few times that she was in the indirect downline of Jacqueline Ortega, and Jacqueline was the #1 income earner multiple years running for Monat. Aspen King has since left Monat and joined Olive Tree People. And then we have Yolanda Norris Clark. Yolanda is an anti-vax conspiracy theorist who, for the love of God, will not stop getting pregnant. She's also a free birther and pretty anti-medicine and anti-science. One Reddit poster said that from what they recall from the rumor mill, what happened between Yolanda and Angela was that Yolanda's paid group called her out for affiliating with Angela. And since Yolanda is also an internet hustler who isn't ever trying to get a real job, she isn't going to let Angela affect her money like that. At first, she was fluffed up by Angela's love bombing, but likely she sniffed her out as a perpetual and unapologetic liar pretty early on. And this person went further and said, I wondered if Yolanda was creeped out by Angela going single white female on her and copying that black circle necklace and suddenly becoming obsessed with getting pregnant. It's likely that she realized that Angela is only using her in the short term for popularity and visibility. When Angela was on her rampage against large families a month or so ago, it seems impossible to believe that it wasn't pointed at Yolanda, who at that time was currently pregnant with her 10th child. Listen, we're all allowed to have different views and different opinions. And I am of the opinion that there's no way that you can give attention to that many children, and that if you have 10 children, you are neglecting them. Like, also, who wants to have 10 kids? So yeah, don't do that. And then we have Katie Griggs, professionally known as Guru Jagat. She was an American Kundalini yoga teacher, podcaster, author, and the owner of both a fashion brand and a record label. She was noted for sharing QAnon conspiracy theories and interviewing conspiracy theorists on her podcast. Now, I've heard from multiple sources that Angela hadn't really ever followed Guru Jagat, like followed her teachings. Like, I'm sure she probably knew who she was, but multiple people very close to Angela had said multiple times that, like, yeah, she had never met her, talked to her, had anything to do with her. And then once she passed away and then once she died in August of 2021, obviously in this type of industry, that was a big deal. And so, of course, I'm sure it probably came onto Angela's radar. I guess a friend went to the funeral of Guru Jagat, and so many people after that had said that her entire personality just became that. And she kept saying that Guru Jagat was her, I'm probably pronouncing her name wrong. I don't care, I'm sorry. But she kept saying that Katie Griggs was her teacher and, one of her teachers, and that Angela's daughter is Guru Jagat, like reincarnated. And it's just, Angela has the wild and honestly impressive talent of making anyone's death about her. It's crazy. And Guru Jagat is no exception to that. In a Vanity Fair article, Guru Jagat said, "I'm not like Love and Light Susie. As a practice, Kundalini is characterized by intense breathwork, repetitive poses, and alternate lifestyle choices, such as wearing white and eating mostly vegetarian. Followers call it an ancient technology. The fact that it was almost entirely made up by one guy sometime in the late 1960s. Harbhajan Singh Khalsa, a former customs agent, immigrated from India to the United States, where he would die a rich and beloved guru known as Yogi Bhajan. He'd taken elements from Sikhism, Hinduism, and Buddhism, dressed them up like a New Age aesthetic, and sprinkled techno-futuristic jargon. And in true American fashion, he parlayed this fiction into a multi-million-dollar empire that included a private security firm, as well as the enormously popular, duly lucrative Yogi tea brand. She continued in that interview to say that she's not bothered at all by the criticism. "I'm a controversial figure," she told the interviewer. "This goes with the territory. I'm very direct. I talk about people don't want to talk about." The shit she might be referring to is how a galactic federation of aliens is impacting world events. Or it could be the idea that COVID-19 was planned. Then again, it might be the views of conspiracy theorist David Icke, whom Jagat hosted on her podcast, Reality Riffing. When the interviewer brought up that he is a well-known Holocaust denier, Jagat laughed it off. And she said, "I mean, supposedly, yeah." Guru Jagat was also accused by many people, but especially by her ex-employees, of running a cult within a cult. And I don't doubt it. She seems pretty culty. I mean, I do appreciate that she was a very outspoken woman who interviewed controversial figures. However, there's obviously a difference between like being in a like journalist type role and interviewing these people. And then there's actually like playing into what they're saying and giving the craziness that they're speaking more value and feeding into it and ultimately doing more harm than good. Personally, I think that is the big difference. Then we have Lindsay Marie Hilligas, whatever her last name is. We have Lindsay here. She was in Angela's downline and, of course, had a close relationship with Angela for what seems like a very short amount of time. Until she was fired from Monat. In a surprising turn of events, Monat actually took the complaints that people were making regarding one of their distributors' social media posts, and they actually fired them. Why doesn't that work every single time? Well, that's because typically they'll only fire people who don't really make them a lot of money. And if this person was in Angela's downline, then she was most likely making less money than Angela was, and therefore not really making them a lot of money, so they can part with her. It's really just to check off a box and shut people up. But Monat posted this to Twitter and said, "After a thorough investigation of Lindsay's actions on social media, we have terminated her contract as an independent salesperson and market partner with Monat. We do not tolerate any forms of racism or discrimination from our employees or independent salespeople. We are building a company culture of respect with a focus on serving others and practicing gratitude that is free from hate." And yet they never fired Angela for those reasons. They fired her for a breach of a non-compete aspect of her contract, and not when she said that wearing masks and mask mandates is worse than the genocide of 6 million people, but okay. Lindsay is also someone who is pretty staunchly anti-medicine, anti-science, just truly a gem and a super intelligent human. I'm just kidding. She's not. She's stupid. That sounds mean, but she's not intelligent. And fun fact, she married someone that looks like they could be brother and sister. That's creepy. And apparently she's been pregnant for like a year. Not like a year, over a year. And that's not a joke. And I do have questions as well. So Reddit, if y'all could figure that one out, I'd really appreciate it. Now it's time to talk about Alexandra Pierce, or you might know her better as HRH Collection. Alexandra Pierce is best known for her unhinged and extremely problematic rants on social media. I personally like to think that she is playing a character and that it's all parody, because I would just hate to accept the fact that there's someone with these types of beliefs procreating in the world. At best, she's a rage bait content creator who has a jewelry line that she claims is all handmade by her, when it's actually been confirmed many, many, many times that all the pieces are purchased from websites like AliExpress, and then she just marks up the price about 1,000%. Some of my personal favorite rants that she's done include, but are not limited to, the topics of cognitively disabled people shouldn't be allowed in public, especially in malls, because she goes to the mall and malls are not public spaces. If you're fat, you're gross, and you eat too much, it's not because of anything medical. If you're ugly, you should fix that. Shirts with thicker straps make her look trans, and how to not have a white trash child. And then more recently, and again, this is one of my favorite ones too, we have Ashley Jones. Ashley Jones is a TikToker that Angela has been mentioning in her Instagram stories and her posts, I want to say within the last year and a half to 2 years, as she has really just been propelled into this delusion. On Ashley's TikTok, she has videos such as Why These Numbers Are Demonic, Demonic Encounter Story Times, and X Witch Tells You blah, 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 whatever. She definitely seems like one of those Christians that is constantly talking, it's not funny, I shouldn't laugh, it's very sad, who's constantly talking about how Satan is after her, she's being persecuted, demons are attacking her, demonic attacks. It's just Brittany Dawn, but more delusional. And how they're constantly fighting battles and praying, you know, and their enemies are so scared of them. And my entire thought process always with this is, if just living your life with your current belief system is so difficult day after day with this, just day to day living your life, it's probably not Satan. It's probably your belief system that's the problem. Also, cannot stand when they come on here and they're like, our marriage has been facing demonic attacks. And it's like, ma'am, your husband watched porn. It's going to be okay. Watch it together. Have some fun. Have a glass of wine. Watch it together. Copy what they do. It's hilarious. Who knows? Maybe it's during the holidays. Search Grinch on the hub. That one is hilarious. Now we have more lies and contradictions. Her surgery / boob augmentation. One person shared, we shared the same plastic surgeon for a fat transfer to breast procedure. She's been pretty open about it, other than giving a completely different story about her experience and results publicly versus in the doctor's private Facebook group that she eventually got kicked out of. However, she hasn't mentioned it in a very long time, and I'm sure she'd like people to forget that she ever subjected herself to a medical doctor for an invasive, elective, and purely cosmetic procedure, and then sailing around the world. We've already mentioned this one, but I think we do need to talk about it a little bit more. Angela really seems to frame her sailing around the world as if she was on a sailboat by herself in a knit sweater, truly just eat, pray, loving. However, in reality, she did a semester at sea through the University of Virginia that was paid for by her stepfather, contrary to her rags to riches story, and she was on a cruise ship and wore matching shirts with her girlfriends. Even from this picture alone, she looks like she's on a bachelorette cruise. It's not giving eat, pray, love, sailing around the world, enlightenment like she makes it out to be. And then something that truly makes me angry, her fake service dog. Angela has a fake service dog vest that she puts on her dog so that she can take him everywhere and anywhere with her, into doctor's appointments, into grocery stores, everywhere where your dog should absolutely not be. She took her last dog everywhere with her too. And I've always wondered why. And I think it's because she got so used to having to bring her dogs with her everywhere because she didn't have her own home. And yes, if you live in an apartment, if you rent somewhere, of course you can have a dog and leave it there. However, for a long time, Angela wasn't living on her own, although she says that she was homeless, and again, manipulates this story and this narrative.
I've been homeless. I have been homeless. I was homeless before I was in poverty.
Brought myself out of homelessness.
I left out the homeless part. Y'all are tired of hearing that I was homeless.
Many times she was living with other people. And if you are living with other people and not the best house guest from what I have heard, other people are not really going to want you to leave your untrained dog at their house when you are not there. And then of course she says as well that she was living in her car too. So obviously if you are living in your car, you can't just leave your dog in your car. Although I wouldn't put it past Angela to do that. No matter what the reasoning or the backstory there, her dogs are not service dogs. They are not trained as service dogs. Service dogs would not act like her animals do. They are specifically trained to not act like that. If you are ever out in public and you see a service dog, or rather a dog with a service dog vest on, and they are yapping at everyone, running around, jumping on people, that person is most likely a liar. Obviously, don't be confrontational, but that is extremely frustrating, especially for people who actually need service dogs and actually have medically necessary service dogs. Another fascinating lie/contradiction or thing that Angela would probably rather have us forget about is when she had another kid and was possibly maybe a lesbian. Who knows? For someone who is now anti-surrogacy, anti-choice, anti-gay, anti-trans, anti-science, anti-premarital sex, anti-literally everything else you can think of, it was super interesting to find out that Angela was an egg donor for an alleged friend of hers named Jen. This whole storyline is very strange because it seems like from Angela's own posts, and we know how trustworthy those are, that she was raising this child and in a relationship with the child's other mother. And she even refers to Jen as the child's other mother or her child's other mother. And sources from Charleston have even said that Angela was in the lesbian community and they recall her being, quote, crazy. Like we talked about at the beginning of this video, I truly do believe, and again, this is just my unsolicited, non-professional opinion, that Angela does meet all the criteria of a cult leader, and not only that, but of a narcissist as well. And not only having a relationship with a narcissist is extremely toxic. I have been there. Raise your hand if you got some narcissistic family members that you can't really get away from. And not only can you be gaslit, deal with sad fishing, straw man fallacies, so much manipulation during the relationship, when you try to get out of it or just even do the casual drift or separate yourself for your own good, you can be met with emotional blackmail. And that is one of the main reasons why so many people for this video and for the research we did were terrified to speak to me and my researcher, Kelly. They were fine speaking with us off the record and remaining anonymous, and that's great. I do appreciate that. However, it obviously would make more of an impact actually having, like, even if I gotta like blur your face, girlfriend, just being able to hear from specific people would have been very, very helpful. And hey, it's okay. I want to protect you. I want to make you feel comfy. It's all right. We all deal with stuff in our own way. But I do think that that would have more of an emotional impact on people who are, you know, maybe about to be manipulated by her or are currently being manipulated by her, or people who have already been through it as well. And like I said, a lot of people didn't want to have Angela find out that they spoke with us about her is because of the emotional blackmail. There were people who said that, as we've heard in these groups, she would have you, as a way to get closer with each other and as a way to build trust, divulge very deep things about yourself and very dark things about yourself from your past or things you're dealing with now, things, secrets that you wouldn't want to leave that circle. The thing is, though, there have been so many people who have already said that once they left the group, Angela not only called their parents or divulged everything that they said or went on a social media rant about them and like didn't even make it vague, just like you could blatantly tell who she was talking about. And then a lot of people, you know, me speaking with them and then people realizing like, oh, you're talking to her? Oh, I'm talking to her. And then they talk to each other. And it kills me to say this, but a lot of them were saying like, she basically just told and relayed everything that I ever told her to these other people and used it against me and painted me out to be this completely different person, allegedly, so that those other people would never talk to this other person. And apparently she did this so many times so that she, in my opinion, could be like the puppet master and control all of these relationships, keeping all of these people separate and really just like their only relationship and connection is you.
then you're still in control. That's wild, and that's very sad. But it's a very common control tactic within high control groups and with narcissists. Now, we will have more interviews and talking with experts here and there on a lot of these topics. I wanted to bring in one of my favorite people ever to talk to us about relationships with narcissists and maybe being raised by a narcissist and being friends with one. So let's hear from Jordan from the YouTube channel, Jordan and McKay. I will have their channel linked down below. So please do go subscribe to them. They are amazing.
So ending a friendship with somebody who is a narcissist or has narcissistic tendencies is going to probably be more complicated for a few reasons. If the other person in the friendship has become the narcissist form of what we would call narcissistic supply, so they're reliant upon this other person to kind of feed their ego, they thrive off of their energy, and so if the other person has become their narcissistic supply, they're not going to want to end that relationship, and they might even go to great lengths to try to defend it or get the other person to stay. And so this can look like, them lashing out or even insulting or belittling you, but at the same time trying to convince you that you need them in order to be successful, like you need them and you're not going to survive without them, things of that nature. So sometimes people who are ending relationships with people who have these like really more severe narcissistic tendencies might have to go to more extremes. And that looks like, blocking numbers or cutting off contact. So narcissistic parents are often at its root, like at its very heart, are filled with shame. And when their children do anything in the range of normal development, it can trigger that shame and cause them to lash out. They often also lack the ability to emotionally connect with other people, including their own children. And that's particularly pernicious for children because emotional attunement and emotional connection and vulnerability is an essential part of childhood and like healthy development. And so there is lots of trauma that can be had when that is lacking. And then just other patterns that they're going to engage in. They're going to try to shift attention to themselves often. Like you've got an important event coming up, you've got something going on that's about you, they're going to try to make it about them. They're often going to struggle with or even completely ignore or break any boundaries that you try to set. And they're often going to kind of reverse roles and play the victim if they're confronted about a problem. When thinking about if it's possible for a narcissistic parent to have a healthy relationship with their child, it's the classic therapist answer, which is it depends. It depends on the severity of, the traits or the patterns that are present. And the more severe, probably the less likely for a healthy connection or a healthy relationship with a child is going to be possible. So someone with severe narcissistic tendencies is going to tend to live in kind of a fantasy world. They don't see things the same way that you and I do. And they exist in this fantasy world, and anything that threatens that fantasy is a problem to them. And so your point of view and you pointing out issues or trying to get them to take accountability is going to kind of be impossible in some cases because that disrupts the worldview that they have created. And so that is a big barrier to having a healthy relationship with a child. And they're also not going to be able to respond in a healthy way when it comes to being confronted about problems or, approached about boundaries. Like this is often a big barrier for parents having healthy relationships with their children. And if any kind of trauma is involved with these people who grew up with narcissistic tendencies, and often it is, you often have people, these narcissistic people, who weren't modeled healthy attachment behaviors. And so if they also did not have attuned parents, then they're going to likely demonstrate that behavior back to their children. It's kind of the simultaneous effect of narcissism and generational trauma that's happening at the same time. And so those patterns and things can be unlearned in therapy and treatment and even medication. But if they don't make the effort to do those things and do some healing, then the likelihood that you're going to be able to have a healthy relationship is probably pretty slim. In my experience, one of kind of the impacts of being raised by a narcissist or having narcissistic people as like caretakers or attachment figures in your life, one of the consequences that I most often see with clients is a great amount of self-doubt and questioning, like lots of questioning the self. Did these things really happen? I often hear the questions like, oh my gosh, I didn't know it was normal to think this way. I thought I was crazy. Lots of things like gaslighting are common within narcissistic relationships. And so it instills a great sense of low self-esteem often and self-doubt within children. And so it's a challenge sometimes to step out of the worldview that's been handed to you, because if you are raised by a narcissist, then that kind of altered worldview that they have, or that fantasy worldview, is often imposed on you as a child. And so it can be a big adjustment to step out of that worldview and into something that is more adaptive or healthier. And so that is a process that is kind of instrumental in healing from trauma like this in therapy, but it can feel unsafe at first, but it can be done and it can be a really healing experience. So some of the hardest things to overcome that are doable but are challenging in therapy is going to be things along the lines of low self-esteem and self-doubt and questioning, and then learning and creating new narratives that fit with your values, your core beliefs, and not ones that were imposed on you by a parent. And additionally, processing the extensive trauma that comes from, the presence of emotional neglect throughout childhood and into adulthood, and things like being able to self-advocate, being able to speak up for yourself, unlearning the people-pleasing tendencies, and really the most impactful is probably going to be the reparenting of the self, giving the self experiences, healing experiences, attunement, validation, and empathy that you did not receive as a child that you then have to gift yourself. So trauma bonds can result from emotional connection that happens kind of, simultaneously with experiencing any kind of abuse. So whether that's emotional, physical, verbal, all the above. And so it can become particularly dangerous when this is happening with like a significant other or a partner or even a caretaker, because our brain has kind of developed them as even an attachment figure. And so there's this cognitive dissonance that happens when, these people are supposed to be taking care of us. They're supposed to love us and care about us. And at the same time, they're also doing these horribly abusive and very negatively impactful things. And so it creates some dissonance there. So other symptoms of trauma bonds can look like seeking out people that have repeatedly hurt you. So you've got a track record with these people and they have repeatedly caused you pain, but yet you feel the urge or the draw to return to them. It can also look like trusting people who have shown you that they're not reliable, right? Like you almost have this fundamental trust in this person, but it's kind of dissonant with the fact that they have betrayed you or that they've caused pain. And then even in some cases, not all cases, but in some, it can even look like maintaining contact or a relationship with an abuser who has an acknowledged responsibility.
So that was a lot of information, and it's not everything. We have more interviews, more information, more updates, and possibly more information about the Phoenix experience and the inner workings of those groups too. At the end of April, which was last week, by the time we're posting this video, probably 2 weeks ago, Angela posted on her Instagram stories declaring her departure from social media. Angela posted and said, "I have realized over the last few weeks how right my mama has always been about everything. Humans will do anything, at any cost, to collude with the devil and experience false earthly gains. They will blatantly lie to keep a paycheck. They will do anything to succeed, even hurt those they love. They will knowingly harm someone to get a leg up. They will act one way on their social media, but behind the scenes, their true character shows. They will hide behind alcohol, weed, sugar, coffee, God, and never get to know themselves, unwilling to admit they hurt everyone in their lives, but most of all themselves. Greed, deceit, ugliness prevail in the majority of humanity. Many of you knew me as a teacher, a part of my life I won't revisit here because thank God he saved me, and I pray you have let him save you too. When you do engage on social media, look at people. Really look at them. Are they filled with the light of Christ? Are they real and true? Or are they filled with something else entirely? Are they ugly from the inside out? Are they selling you a facade? Do you feel incredible when you engage with their content? Or do you leave the app feeling less than? Most of you don't even know yourselves, much less your family, because you're on your phone so much. You can't live an extraordinary life if you're living through a phone. I'm actually tearing up writing this to you because I don't know if or when I'll be back. So don't ask me. There's a lot of things I could say that would make you gasp in disbelief, but I won't. Just do me a favor until we meet again. Put your phone down for 80% of your life. Stop letting your kids see you waste your life away. Stop ignoring your family. You don't know how long you have with them. No one on this app matters like your parents, your kids. No amount of money. Trust me. I have seen and experienced so much over the last few weeks. Betrayal, blatant deceit, unfathomable greed. And when my stepdad died, I realized how much time people spend on their phones creating a false narrative, a life they want to sell you, a life they want to sell to everyone else. But most of it is not true at all. In fact, I thought everyone was as transparent as I was on social media. It was only then I realized most people create a facade they hope others will buy, quite literally. Probably the most shocking that I had a baby and became a born-again Christian
in the same breath. My life irrevocably changed by the grace of God. My pastor says not to announce when you're leaving social media, but I have something to say before I go. So much has happened in the last decade that I've been on social media, and many of you have walked alongside me. I love so many of you deeply. If you know me, you know how much I have enjoyed sharing my life with you and learning about yours. You know how much I cherish my people. You know how much I love working. It's so true. I love work, but things have changed over the last few months. Many of you were shocked to find that I left my former life to start selling shampoo, quickly rising in the ranks of a network marketing company, and changed my life drastically yet again. Over the years, I have had many jobs. Many of you knew me when I was homeless and started my first business driving around to estate sales, selling clothes out of my trunk, printing labels from inside the little printer in my car, and dropping parcels off at random USPS locations around the USA. Many of you watched me work a bison ranch, riding horses in the Wild West and falling in love, traveling to UK, experiencing child loss, heartbreak, and worse. I never understood when my mom told me that people were inherently bad. I genuinely believed that people wanted to be good, that all people were striving to be the best versions of themselves always, that they didn't have to be taught to be good. I was very completely wrong. Good luck out there, and God bless, especially those who have hurt me. I forgive you. Well, if that isn't projection, I think it is wild that Angela has the audacity to go on social media and get like so close to being self-aware and saying things like, put your phone down. We spend too much time on our phones. People will lie and push the truth and try to sell you a life that they don't have. And it's like, babe, that's what you've been doing for the past like 5 to 8 years. Oh, but she forgives you. Don't worry. Again, narcissism. As of filming this portion of the video, this last part, May 9th, 2 p.m. Eastern, Angela has not returned to social media, which is very surprising to me, at least. It has been alleged that she resigned from Olive Tree People. And guess what? We already proved that. She did resign. I was a little bit shocked at that as well. Not shocked, a little surprised. And sources close to Angela say that they think that this may be a rebrand in the works. She's going to leave social media, hang out with her family, possibly realize, oh, it's so much easier living with my mom, not having to pay rent or for a very expensive monthly Airbnb. And it's much easier having my village around me or having my mom so that she can take care of this kid. A lot of other people do think that she will be back before her 30th birthday. I believe her birthday is in late June. I'm pretty sure she's a Cancer. Pretty sure it's late June. And that's her 40th birthday. And so a lot of people think that she'll be back by then and that she will just be back on another grift. Maybe she'll come back as a pastor. Maybe she'll come back as just full Christian influencer, just craziness. And then there are some people who think that she is gonna turn to sex work, which honestly, that wouldn't surprise me either. But my money, my 4 nickels, and one of them is a button, is on her making just a full shift to being like a pastor type person, but like rage bait, so worse. If you or someone you know have had experiences, interactions, anything like that with Angela, please do email me at chelsea@chelseasuarez.com. I would really appreciate it. Again, you can stay anonymous. We could just do a voice recording if you want. You can completely put yourself out there. You can stay off the record. I can have voice actors read your experience if that's better for you. We can make your experience a little bit more vague so that Angela doesn't know that it's you specifically. Whatever makes you feel the most comfy, but I would love to talk to you, be able to maybe give you some closure and really just get more people's voices out there before she exploits other people for her next inevitable grift. I swear, every time I think I'm like done with the second part of this video, nope. So Monat has, the multi-level marketing company that she was in for the longest time, has continued to really go downhill. And Angela has been speaking out about that, which is wonderful, obviously. And Angela has continued to, I don't want to say speak negatively, but speak in an opposing way regarding network marketing in general, which is great. And then she has continued to also post a lot about being a Christian and demons. And as you can imagine, following this person during an election year is ridiculous. So she deleted or wiped clean her old Instagram account, and then she created a new one, and now this one is private apparently. And if you request to follow her, then she's messaging you and asking you for
a copy of like a not photocopy. She's asking you for a picture of your license or your government issued identification or something like that. Which is interesting, but also like just weird because it's like, girl, if you don't want people that like you don't know to not follow you, just keep it private and don't accept people that you don't know. But I don't think she is going to be able to do that because I do think that Angela is going to keep going with like her whole grift type of thing and maybe just go back to having a smaller, super dedicated audience and following. And again, that can be way more culty, especially because it is more closed off and you're not having people from the outside, I mean, share stuff or say stuff. And then also one thing that I did want to mention is that Angela kept saying before she like switched over to another Instagram account, she's crazy. I love that she does that. As if that's gonna like fix any problems. Really don't think she understands like dichotomy of a digital footprint, which is just hilarious. But she did say multiple times like, "Oh, they didn't reach out to me. Like they said all these things that weren't true and I would have done an unedited interview. Like you can't edit it. You just put it up." I absolutely would have done that. I rarely edit my interviews that I do. The thing is though is that it's not little sound bites like taken out of context to make you sound worse. Angela doesn't need any help with that. It's taking out the dead air or the ums or the uhs or the filler words and all that. Or if you mess up saying something or stumble over your words, I'll sometimes like stop you and be like, okay, take a breath and I'll start over. Or like, hey, phrase it like this in the beginning, or I'll re-ask my question to have it, cut a little bit better. And that's completely normal. Also, girlfriend, that just makes you look better. Like, it's not gonna hurt me if it's unedited. It's gonna hurt you either way because of you, which that's just super interesting to me that she thinks that. And a lot of people in this type of, money making, online scheming, grifting type of industry really do think that the only way that any type of opposition could be valid is that it's skewed or it's fake news or it's altered or it's taken out of context, and it's like, no, that's the entire clip. It wasn't taken out of context, it was just taken out of your context or what you believe the context is. So yeah, that's super interesting. I did reach out to her. I emailed her. I sent her the same email twice, one to her individual email and then one to her assistant email. And if she didn't check those, that's not my fault. I sent it from my professional email and that one doesn't get like stuck in folders or anything, like spam filters or anything. I've had no problems with that. So I don't know. It's just super interesting that she is saying, like, oh, well, they never reached out to me. Yes, I did. I reached out twice, as I always do with specific deep dive videos. So love that for her, but she can use that as an excuse all day long. I do love that she continues to refer to my video as a documentary. I also feel like she is kind of using that as like, "Oh my god, they made a documentary about me." Like, YouTube video, calm down. Like, calm down. There also have been people in her area who have said things like and who have reached out to me and been like, "Yeah, I went to my hairdresser," and apparently Angela Sumner goes to the hairdresser too, and she just kept talking about, like, being a born again Christian and being a single mom, and then also how she, like, had a documentary made about her. Like, it's so I am not Netflix. I am not Amazon Prime Video. I'm a YouTuber. But I appreciate the boost of confidence on my side. Yikes. Yeah, so I will, keep updating y'all as I typically usually do with these types of videos and, just here and there, but that's it so far. I do want to dive in further, like much, much, much further into the people that she likes, single white females, because there were 2, I believe, that I either didn't go into far enough. I don't think I went far enough into any of them. I mean, this would have been a 17-hour long video, but yeah, I definitely want to do that. So let me know if you want that, if she's reached out to you, if you've had interactions, of course, as with any subjects of my videos, please reach out to me. Either research at ChelseaSuarez.com or Chelsea at ChelseaSuarez.com. All right. See you in the next deep dive. We're already working on it.
Well, what do you know? Here I am for yet another update. So it is August 6th, 2024. I know. The main portion of this video was filmed in May. But like I said at the beginning update, we did have to wait for some police reports and other official documents and things to come back. So this did take way longer than expected. But we do have some new spicy updates. So as I said, Angela had seemingly left social media and then came back. And then she created a whole new Instagram, which of course she did. But she said that she wanted to make this one private. So she then started asking her followers, anyone who requested to follow her, to send her a copy of their government-issued ID as a way for her to verify their identity, I guess. And that was the only way that she was allowing people to follow her. But of course, Angela's need for attention and to spread not only misinformation, but harmful and hateful rhetoric truly does seem to overpower any need or desire that she has for privacy. So within the last week, Angela has made her new Instagram account public and has continued to post reels, grid posts, Instagram stories, spreading, again, misinformation, dangerous, hateful rhetoric, and truly just obnoxious things that when you read them, they'll make you shake your head and think, how do people like this exist? What is wrong with this woman? One of my favorite examples of this is Angela posted a reel saying that in this day and age, if you aren't a conspiracy theorist, then you're just not smart.
I saw a reel and it just bears repeating. If you are not a conspiracy theorist by now, you are just not a smart person. You are just not intelligent. If you cannot look at the world and be like, what is this? You're not smart.
Now, don't get me wrong. I do think that, yeah, you should question a lot of things. I do think that, of course, media does sensationalize things. There is a lot of misinformation out there. We should question everything. But there's a difference between questioning everything and wanting to, get to the bottom of it and make sure you are ingesting truth. And then there is being a bigot and thinking that a drag queen has their testicles out on international television during the opening ceremony, the Olympics, when if you actually just look at it, you can clearly tell that it is a rip in the pantyhose. No one's got balls that big, Angela. Not even me. So that is it for this video. I have filmed this over multiple days, as you could tell by the different hair, makeup, and outfits. So I appreciate you. I appreciate my channel members for lending their voices to this video. Thank you so much. Make sure you comment down below for engagement. Feel free to share this video. That really helps us a lot. I would appreciate that. If you want to do is there like a phoenix emoji, a fire emoji down below, that would help. But subscribe, stay spicy, keep those boundaries up, remain assertive. And remember, your butt looks good. It does, I see it. And I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.